Hey man, how are you?
Good, how are you, dude?
I'm pretty good. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. Sorry it took me so long to get on here, man.
Oh,
I
it's you're
always,
you're, you're okay.
I'm a busy man these days with school and
Yeah,
everything, you know.
I
So,
bet. Okay, so I guess I'll just ask you to start by introducing yourself.
okay. I'm Parker Wolfe. I'm a runner for the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill.
Okay, so if do you have anything else you want to say before I start asking you a couple questions?
No, I'm whatever you've got. I'm good with.
Okay, sounds good. So I guess I'll start by asking kind of how you started running and like around what age you were when you began running.
I started in like seventh and eighth grade. I did like some like local 5Ks. Not very serious. And then as I got into high school, I needed to find something to do in the fall that wasn't baseball. I was going to play baseball in the
Mm.
spring, so I decided to do cross country in the fall, and I actually had some good success at it, and turned out I liked it more than baseball, and so I just went with it in the spring and did track, and I've been doing it ever since.
Okay. So when you started running, did you like you said you felt like you were pretty good at the beginning. How do you think that influenced like you continuing to run? Like if you were bad, do you think you would still be running like if you didn't have some natural talent there?
Yeah, I mean, it would have been hard to want to keep doing something that I didn't see myself doing good at.
Hmm.
I mean, I thought I could be good at kind of whatever I put my mind to. And I think if I would have, gone with baseball, I think I would have been just fine at it. But it was just like the initial success with running that I was like, all right, I think I could probably do pretty good if I keep, doing this and focus on this sport. And so, I mean, it would have been hard to keep going if I wasn't very good. But so
Yeah.
that helped. Yeah.
Okay. So what sports did you kind of do before you started running?
I started out with soccer when I was really young, and then I did soccer and baseball pretty much up until freshman year. And then running was just kind of like a side thing that I did here and there. For the most part, I mean, I did like, during PE class, we did like the mile run around my school or something like that. But other than that, it was mostly baseball and soccer until I got to high school and then started running full time pretty much.
Okay. So how do you think doing those other sports impacted how you are as a runner now and when you began running?
Well, I think they helped a lot. I think they help, you get a foundation where you can like build running off of. If you don't do any sports when you're younger, I think it'd be hard to have like a good, good muscle buildup, good like bone
Mhm.
health. I think a lot of the like sports I did helped a ton. I think, you do a lot of running in soccer. So, I think sports like that helped. And then baseball is a very mental sport where,
Yeah.
you're thinking a lot about striking out and being at bat and all that. So, I think that helped the mental side. And then you obviously like get pretty fit playing soccer, and so they kind of mesh together pretty well.
Okay. So you said you started focusing on running around your freshman year. When did you like really start thinking like this is what I want to do in college, this is what I'm gonna spend most of my time doing? At what point do you think that was at for you?
Yeah, I thought I might be able to by the end of my freshman year. I was like, okay, maybe I could do this in college.
Hmm.
And then it was really sophomore year once I started running some better times and like placing a little higher in the state. I was like, okay, maybe I could do this in college and like be really good at it. And so it was probably sophomore year. I think I came like fourth or fifth at our state meet during cross country, and I was like, okay, I think I could do pretty good. If I continue down this path for the next 2 years, I think I could be really good and go to college for it. And so that was really the turning point. Sophomore year is when I started like really getting into it.
Okay. So how do you think you're like well could you just say how your training and PRs kind of progressed from freshman to senior year?
Yeah, freshman year, I think my PR in the mile was like 4:38. 2 mile was 9:45 or so. I didn't make the state meet as a freshman. Um, so those times aren't super impressive, but by the time I was a senior, I was running 4:06 and 8:42 in the mile and 2 mile. And yeah, I won state meet in cross country as a senior, and I was
Mhm.
like, I think I was like 50th or so as a freshman. So progressed along the way. It's just over 4 years and putting the time in and getting stronger, you get a lot better. So yeah, I went all the way from 4:38 down to 4:06. So
What did your training look like with that progression?
Yeah, it was definitely different than it is like, it wasn't as thought out, I guess, or as,
Yeah.
high level as college training is. I really liked my high school coach, but we did a lot of we'd work out Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We did a lot of hills. We did a lot of fast stuff on the track. During track season, we pretty much did 8 times 400 at mile pace once a week. So it was a lot of like fast, hard. Um, Intervals and not very much mileage. I think I ran 30 to 40 most of the time I was in high school and maybe touched 50. So
Okay.
it's progressed a lot.
So you grew up in Colorado, right? Or like where you went
Yeah.
to high school?
Yep.
How do you think that kind of affected you as a runner? Because obviously that's at altitude. So
Right.
it's a pretty cool experience to have, especially as like a distance runner.
Right. Oh yeah. I think it's helped a lot and just like I think, as I decide next year to go pro, like I think it'll help a lot with using altitude. And I think I just get used to it really easily. Like if I use altitude training, I think I'll be able to acclimate really well and I think it's a good stimulus to have coming from altitude down to sea level and I'm able to do a lot of harder workouts that I think help because I did hard stuff up at altitude.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously I don't get the benefits now because I've been at sea level for the last like 4 months.
Yeah.
But I think there is a part where like every hard workout I did was at altitude, so I get used to what it's like at altitude, and then come down here and it's a little easier. So
Okay. So then how did the decision come from to go almost across the country all the way to UNC from living in Colorado?
yeah, it was really Coach Mill. I really liked him. I liked his vision. I had like 5 guys I knew from my class that were already going to commit here. And so I was like, we could have a really good team in a few years with all these guys going. And really, it was Coach Mill. I just believed that he could make me really, really good. And I knew it was halfway across the country, but I also wanted something different than Colorado. I mean, I love Colorado, and I'll probably end up there again later in my life, but I wanted to see something new. I really like North Carolina, so it was kind of a combination of, you know, the coach, the place, and the guys.
Okay. So I have one more question regarding like your high school, I guess, before we go into like where you're now. Out of every high school race, or like even early on, what was your favorite race you've ever done from there?
My favorite race ever, in high school or even
High school,
since
high
high
school.
school. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one. I'd probably say the running lane race I did my senior year in cross country. They didn't have
Okay.
NXN or
Hmm.
Foot Locker, so they had the running lane championships, and that was probably one of my favorites because I had a really good cross season, and then went there and won what was, I guess, the national title for what we
Yeah.
had. So
Okay. So I live in Georgia, so I'm fairly close to running lane. It's like
okay,
2 hour drive.
that's
But yeah,
great.
that's pretty cool. I think I've also watched the Justin Watchell video
Oh
of,
yeah.
of you running it, so that's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's a good course. I love that. I thought it was a really fun race.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty fast. It just gets real muddy usually. I feel like
Right.
it's raining almost every year.
That's yeah. My sisters have raced it. They didn't race very fast because it was super muddy. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean the national record's on it too. So
Oh, I know. I know. I remember the year after me. I think that was they ran really really fast on it. So
yeah, it was like 14 flat almost, somewhere around
jeez,
there.
that's quick. That's quick.
That's, yeah, that's insane. Okay, so now in college, I guess, do you kind of just want to talk about like how it was going from being the top to, I guess, the bottom again as a freshman at
Right.
UNC, one of the big D1 schools?
Yeah. It definitely was, I came in expecting it. Like I just knew it was going to be a whole new level. And so I think I did a really good job of just like listening to the older guys on the team and learning from them. So coming in, I was like, you know what? I'm in this group and this is kind of the group I'm going to be with. And then, as we got to racing, I raced and I won my first college race and I was like, okay, like I guess I'm a little better than I thought I was. And so, I had really good older guys on the team that were kind of teaching me how to hold myself to certain standards, and that helped a lot. But it definitely was an experience going from like being the top guy in high school, trying to win every race, and now you're not trying to win every race. I was trying to
Hmm.
come top 40 at cross nationals my freshman year, and it was definitely different. It reminded me a lot of like back to freshman year of high school, and I think it's a valuable thing to go through is like going from the top back to kind of shuffled in the pack and then working your way up.
Yeah. So obviously, these past couple years, you've been very successful, almost making the Olympic team last year. When you were a freshman in college, you even think you'd make it to like that point?
No, I really didn't. I didn't really know. Like, I was a fan of running, but I wasn't like super into it, so I didn't even know kind of the levels of running that much. Like, I didn't follow professional running that often. And now as I've gotten into it more, I follow the like pro scene, and so I really didn't
Yeah.
think I'd ever get to that level. I thought the Olympics were for like these insane times, insane people, and really it's come full circle now. I was really close to making it in third at the trials. So yeah, I didn't never would have thought.
Okay. So obviously, last season was probably one of your best seasons. Like, do you think like it was almost like a breakout season, or do you believe it was just like over time you progressing and slowly making it to a point where you're competing with not only the best guys in college but in the country?
Yeah, it definitely was just like slowly chipping away. I mean, looking at, myself over the years, I felt like you could see the progression slowly coming through. Went from, not making nationals in track as a freshman to getting fifth indoors as a sophomore and then fifth outdoors and then back to cross getting ninth. And then, like all these, you see the progression like fifth, 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 and then got second as a junior. And I mean, the progression was definitely there, and it was little steps over time. So I don't feel like to me it was a breakout. I mean, to me and Coach Milt, we had seen it, planned it out,
Yeah.
kind of seen it coming, and definitely parts of the season surprised myself last year and ran faster than I thought I would at certain races. But overall, I think it's been a very, step by step process, and it's very, chipping away at it. And finally, once you chip away enough, you realize how far you've gotten. So.
Okay. So obviously you finished third at the Olympic trials, but you were racing against someone who's previously beaten you being Graham Blanks. So what's
Mhm.
kind of your like mindset going into that race, knowing that you're on the line of possibly qualifying, possibly being like one or two spots out, and you were just like in this position, this kind of awkward position where you could make it, but at the same time you don't have the standard. So like, how are
Right.
you approaching that race?
I really just tried not to think about it too much, and I went in just thinking, you know what, I'm gonna try to get third. The rest will take care of itself. And I figured no one really predicted me to get third in that. I think there were really good guys in the field that easily had faster PRs than me and faster everything than me. So I just went in, seeing how long I could hang around. And then, with a couple laps to go, saw that we were breaking away, and it was just Graham and I. And I had beat him once at nationals, and I beat him once in the prelim, so I knew I could beat him again. I didn't want him anywhere near me, and so I looked at the big screen and saw him there, and I just put in one last surge with all I had to get away from him. So it definitely was an experience because I kind of went in just kind of see what I can do, and now I know what I can do. So the next time around, it's a little bit different thought process going in.
Yeah. So, it's very unfortunate like you didn't make it, but at the same time, I feel like for me, I don't like racing super late into the summer, and especially like into the Olympics. Like you can't really get a base across the country.
Right.
So, did you just like take a little time off or like do anything like that, and then just back into training, or was there any other different like preparations?
No, yeah, it was like in a way we got a head start on cross country and trying
Mm-hmm.
to go get in shape for that. And I thought I was in a really good spot going into the summer, like coming into the season. I felt like I was in a really good trajectory, and then had an injury and injured my foot and got set back a couple weeks and really didn't have the end of the season that I wanted, but definitely got a good jump after not making the Olympics and really got some good training in. And so had I had a full season, I think I would have been really a contender. But
Mm-hmm.
with injury, you never know what can happen. So
Yeah.
I was yeah, overall definitely had a good jump on the season and was ready to go.
Okay. So before I'm gonna ask one more question about college, and then just kind of move on to a bunch of different kind of questions.
Cool.
Um, how would you summarize your college career more mainly focused on, I guess, your senior year?
Yeah, it's definitely been. I think it was really smooth first 3 years of just like getting better each race, getting better
Mhm.
each year. And this last year's been a really good learning and growth year for me. Had a couple injuries coming off the winter and coming off the summer. Um, both things that I've learned a lot from and learned how to, as somebody who wants to do this for a really long time, you have to learn how to deal with injuries. And this was my first taste of injuries. And it's not fun, but I feel like this was a really big season of growth for me. And so I'm excited for it. It's not over yet, so I'm super pumped to keep rolling.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna move into a little more like rapid fire, this or that, would you rather kind of questions, I guess.
Cool.
Starting with cross country or track.
Oh, I think I would choose cross country just because I probably am not going to run it again for a really long time.
Okay.
And there's nothing better than like the team aspect of cross country. You don't get that in track. So,
Yeah.
um,
Okay.
if I was going to be running cross country more, I would probably say track. But since I'm not going to run it again, it'll probably be cross.
Okay. So Ingebrigtsen or Joshua?
I'd probably go Jakob. I like his cockiness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I
he's
mean,
world record holder. So
you guys are pretty close to teammates too, I guess, with the Nike going on.
that's true. That's true. I guess same brand. That's a good point. Definitely Jakob then. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that one. I'm a
Yeah.
big Jakob guy.
Oh man, he's something else.
Yeah. Have you tried any of like the double threshold or like anything along those lines?
Yeah, we do a lot of double threshold training, a lot of double workouts.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of our strength days are like, 7 miles of threshold in the morning and then back in the afternoon for 3, 4, sometimes 5. So, we've definitely over the last few years have adopted a lot of that double threshold stuff for sure.
Okay. So I interviewed Graham a couple months ago, and he was saying like, how when he was at the Olympics, he was like sitting in this room next to Jakob, like before they
Uh,
got called out.
oh,
So
that's
I was just
cool.
wondering, like, how would you feel like sitting next to a guy like that? Like, you're about to be racing him, but at the same time, it's like a guy you kind of like, oh shoot, this guy's real fast. I've seen him
Yeah.
race. Kind of looked up to him. So like, how do you think you're like, go after that?
No, it's definitely something that I felt like at trials seeing Grant and all these guys that you've watched race when you were younger and now you're racing against them. It's definitely weird, but at the same time you're like, well, I'm gonna race against them anyway and see what happens. So a lot of it you just
Yeah,
like you're like, oh wow, and then kind of just forget about it as much as you can.
yeah. Okay. So switching over to some non-running, like, what are 3 random facts about you?
3 random facts about me. Let's see. I really like fly fishing. I did that a lot this
Okay.
summer. Love it. A lot of fun. I like hunting too. I do a lot of hunting. I go duck hunting with my dad. I've gone since I was really little. So kind of redneck vibes, hunting and
Yeah.
fishing. Third one, I don't ski anymore, but I used to be a really good skier. So that
Okay. So any like cross training in there? Just getting some skis in there in the summer?
Man, I wish skiing wasn't so dangerous because I would totally ski more often. But I haven't skied in like 3 or 4 years now, so it's been a minute.
Okay. So, I guess out of every, like, this is kind of back to college, I guess, a little bit, but out of every one of your teammates, of some of the underclassmen, some of the recruits, who do you think is most likely to come in and kind of fill you and Ethan Strand's spot?
I think anyone in this next class we have coming in is really really good. I think Tommy Latham's really good, and Joe, and I mean any of those guys are really they're studs. I think Tommy just broke 4 in the mile this year, so
Yeah,
um,
359 high.
yeah, yeah. I think any of those guys really can shake it up, and they're talented enough. As long as they trust Milt, they'll be really good.
hmm So, how has it been training with a guy like Ethan Strand? Like, obviously, two of like the best in the country, on the same team, which is probably pretty nice. But at the same time, it's like you're competing against your teammate at this like day in and
Right.
day out.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome. I mean, it definitely has its highs and lows. I love Ethan, but I hate getting beat by Ethan. So
Yeah,
it's been good for us, like in retrospect, looking back and seeing, like, he definitely made me a better runner. I think most of my ability to close last year was because I did a bunch of workouts with Ethan.
Hmm.
And I know the majority of his success this year is from doing a lot of strength stuff with me, which is more my thing. And so, I think it's been really good for both of us to have each other. I don't think I'd be where I am without him, and I don't think he'd be anywhere, he wouldn't be there where he is right now without me. So it's a
Okay.
really cool dynamic between us two. But it also has, sometimes you got to get beat by him, which I hate.
Yeah. How much of his speed work do you have to contribute to you out kicking Graham in the last 400 at the
Ton. Most
Olympic
of it.
trials?
I mean, I think I did a lot of workouts, freshman, sophomore, and junior year with Ethan, where, I mean, sophomore year, he would just blow my doors off. Like, it wouldn't even be close. Any speed stuff, it was all Ethan. And so, over 3 years of doing those workouts with him, I think it helped. I mean, that's, I think, one of the main reasons I was able to close so well and have gotten that. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Do you know what your last 400 was?
At trials,
Yeah.
uh, I remember somebody saying it was like 55, I think.
That's
Um,
pretty quick.
Yeah, yeah. I had no idea. I just remember somebody saying that to me as I was getting
Hmm.
off the track. So,
I
yeah,
don't know. Do you follow at all like high school running or like anything like that?
a little bit. I mean, especially with like guys we're recruiting for sure.
Yeah. So Owen Powell at Arcadia apparently he closed in like a 54 in a
Wow, man, for
3200,
high school,
which
that's
is
pretty quick.
crazy.
I was not doing that in high school. I was closing like 59 maybe.
Yeah, I think that's what Tommy closed in at Arcadia. So
Yeah, no, that's closing any faster than that in high school is impressive.
yeah, especially like I think it was fastest ever like last 400 in a high school race
Wow,
for 32.
that's really impressive. That's really impressive.
Yeah. So obviously next year, this is a pretty stacked class, the class of 2025. Who do you think will have like the most dominant team next year?
Oh, it's hard to say. I think with there's a lot of international guys going to different teams. I think
Hmm.
teams like New Mexico who have a lot of Kenyans and international talent. They're going to be really good in cross country, and BYU is always really good too. I think our guys can be really, really good, especially with some younger guys coming in and some older guys staying. So I don't know, but I think the main players will be kind of the same ones that were this last year. I think.
Okay. So this is kind of another like more random question, just kind of jumping back and forth now. If you could pick one kind of shoe to run in the rest of your life between a trainer, super shoe, and spike, what would it be?
I'd go trainer because you can still work out in trainers. Probably wouldn't race very well in them, but maybe the Vaporfly like a super shoe. But I think your calves would get really sore, so it's hard to
Yeah,
choose. But one of those, two. I definitely wouldn't choose the Spike.
I think I would choose the super shoe just because you could probably like. I mean, if you could choose the super shoe too, you got a pretty wide variety.
Right, that's true. That's true. So yeah, I mean, I think super shoe would be probably the best middle ground for them all. You can train
Yeah.
in it and race. So
How would you feel about getting the spikes, but then only doing your easy runs barefoot on like the infield?
oh, that would be. I mean, that'd be tough. Barefoot running is hard. So.
Yeah,
That'd be tough.
that'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see.
Oh, it would be. It definitely would be.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you have an NIL with Nike currently?
Yes, yes, NIL.
So, is that like kind of a gateway to being signed professionally from them, or like, do you think like, obviously you're in a position to run professionally over the next like year or whatever, like signed soon. So, how do you like think that will affect it already having that NIL?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, building a relationship with Nike has been awesome. And it's obviously not like I'm not forced to go with them in any way. I can kind of choose. There's stipulations and weird things in the contract, but overall, I'm just going to go and try to find the place where it's the best situation and the best place I trust the coach the most and the brand the most. And that's where I'll end up. So honestly, to me, brand isn't a huge thing. And I've loved my NIL with Nike so far, but by no means is
Mhm.
it like, contractually may I have to go with them.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you have any pre-race superstitions like every day before a race or like right before the race you have to do these?
Not really. I've got my headband I always wear pretty much for every race, and I've got my bagel with peanut butter I eat. But other than that, I'm not super superstitious. Really, I don't wear a necklace when I race. That's one thing I wear it like pretty much every day. But when I race, I take it off. But other than that, I don't really have like a ton of superstitions.
Is it the same headband? Like how long have you had that headband?
No, it's not the same headband.
Okay.
It got to a point where it just gets too gross, and I was like, nah, I can't do this. So,
Yeah, that would be
uh,
pretty superstitious.
yeah, I have like three or four I traded between. They're the same one, but just can't have a dirty one every time. That's gross.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, are you more of a pre-race music guy or pre-race meal?
I don't listen to any music, so
Okay.
I'm definitely I don't listen. I just the sounds of the track. So, but I do love my pre-race pasta. That's my like the night before is always pasta. So
Pasta makes you run faster.
that's true. That's it exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So, I guess as you like are progressing into professional running, do you think you're gonna stay as a like 5K, 10K, maybe even like a 1500 guy sometimes, or do you think you're gonna move up eventually?
I think eventually I'll move up. I think for at least a while, stay 5K, 10K, 15, and then,
Hmm.
as hopefully if I can run as long as I want to, move, longer down the road. But I think the 5K, 10K, and the 15 are kind of where I want to stick for a while.
Okay. I don't know if you saw any of the Boston Marathon today. That was
Yeah,
pretty exciting to see Conor Mantz get a pretty big PB and getting pretty close to that American record.
that was very impressive. Yeah, I thought it was awesome. It's so cool to see. I mean, it's been a while since Americans have been, really good on the marathon
Mhm.
level.
Yeah, I have a day off for Easter break, so far I've spent that going on a run and watching the Boston Marathon, and that's about it.
That's not a lot much better than that. That's as
Yeah,
good as it can get.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, so if you could like, what's your like one go-to meal of the day? Like, is there something you kind of have almost every day, or like before you run every day?
Bagel with peanut butter. That's go to before I run, and then eggs and some sort of bacon or toast after, and maybe some cereal after I run. But I have eggs almost every day with breakfast, and yeah, bagel with peanut butter. It's go to. Gotta have it.
Okay, so you're more a morning running guy or a night running guy?
Definitely morning. Yeah, I like the early mornings, but I like to get out when at least it's relatively cool. I just feels better to get done and have the rest of your day.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you on that. I
Yeah.
know I couldn't imagine like, cause I just think about it the whole day then,
Right.
waiting to go on my run, like,
Oh yeah.
which is kind of
Sucks.
annoying about being in like a high school environment where you just kind of have to wait until like
Yeah.
3:30 to run every day.
Yeah, that's how I was. It's you just think about it all day, which kind of sucks, but got to
Yeah.
do what you got to do.
Yep. Okay. So if you could pick between like which one you prefer more, are you more of like a speed work on the track guy or a nice easy long run?
I'd actually cut down the middle and go threshold stuff, tempos,
Okay.
I do
Yeah.
love a good distance run though. I'm definitely not speed stuff, but I love good long threshold days. Those will pay the bills.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I have one more question for you, I guess. If you could like, where do you see yourself going from here on out? Like, do you like, obviously you're in a position to try going after the Olympics in another 3 years or so. So like,
Yep.
how do you see yourself progressing from here on out?
Yeah, I mean this year it's just building on and getting back to, healthy training and being consistent and hopefully trying to make a shot at this world team. And then each year just trying to build on what we've done the year before. And I mean, we've got over 3 years till the Olympics in LA, but that's the goal in mind. And then everything from there is just working backwards. So, step by step.
Okay. So if you have any questions for me, I can answer them, and if not, I'll wrap it up.
Yeah, I got nothing else. When are you racing next? What's your
Um,
next race?
Regular season just ended. Hopefully, I'll be going to area, or I am
Okay,
going to area, which I should qualify to sectionals, and then should be going on the states.
cool.
Pretty exciting. And
Nice.
then I won't do any postseason and just start getting ready for cross.
I like it. That's a good way to do it.
Yep.
That's fun. Well, good luck, dude.
Thank
That should be a
you.
blast. Postseason. It's the best part.
Yep. All right. Have a good rest of your day and good luck on the rest of your season.
Thank you. You too, man. Hopefully, I'll hear from you soon.
Yeah. Oh, say hi to Joe for me.
I will say hi to Joe for you for
All
sure.
right.
See ya.
Yeah.